Welcome to this week's edition of Wednesday Web Chat. This is Carl Lewis, your host, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us this week. Our special guest presenter is going to be our friend Laura Lechien from Altec. We'll be talking about document management, of course, since it's our friends at Altec speaking to us today. But the very unique title we have is Reducing Manual Workload in a Paperless Office, something everybody who works in office environments would love to do, I'm sure. Laura, welcome to Wednesday Web Chat. Glad you joined us.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone, for your time and opportunity this morning. So our goal is to empower you folks with tools and technology to help you streamline your business process, have better visibility to your documents and information, along with also to be compliant and drive down some of your company overhead costs, and of course at the same time going paperless. Now, as you know, we all live in a world where information is at our fingertips. And for example, I could travel to anywhere around the world, and the minute I get off the plane, I can turn on my cell phone and ask to find the nearest restaurant or hotel or gas station. It's that easy. And it is not a surprise because it's just what we expect today. However, when it comes to our business, our office, that might be another story. For many of us, our expectations have been severely lower when it comes to finding critical data and information to help us make decisions to complete tasks at hand. There are reasons that it's hard to find information in your organization. For one thing, not all information comes into us in one format. Some are electronic, some are hard copy, and not everything is stored in a database where we can slice and dice the information. We still communicate with business partners and customers via documents. And like I said, some are digital. We still have to be able to track the communication and store in its content in a manner that is meaningful and easy to access. And that is why we have document management, to provide us a meaningful way to find our information and to have access to our information.